Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10-minute book talk, where three best-selling authors talk all things bookish with you for 10 short and sweet minutes. I'm Rachel Linden, and I'm joined by my hostesses Marie Bostwick and Katherine Reay. And today we have the lovely pleasure of having Susan Wiggs with us with her new book, Sugar and Salt. Yay. And I am partway through this. It is delightful. It's a great summer read. It just came out, and I'm totally obsessed with the cover, especially this woman's nail polish. There's old. Anyway, so Susan, thank you for being with us. And can you tell us a little bit about this story?
I can, and thank you. I mean, I love nothing more than sitting around talking about books with my peers. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Sugar and Salt is my first book to be out in 2 years, which it's unusual for me to have that long of a time, but just like everything else in the world, the pandemic has kind of wreaked havoc with my schedule. But no, it's a story that has kind of been in my, on my back burner for a number of years. And readers of The Lost and Found Bookshop, which was my book that came out in 2020, will recognize the location of the bakery called Sugar and the restaurant called Salt. They are on Perdita Street in San Francisco, which is where the Lost and Found Bookshop is. And so I've kind of created this whole new world. So I got to return to that, but I also returned to something that I love. And I know Marie is like much more accomplished in this area, but I love cooking and baking. And so I kind of combined a character's passion for that with actually trauma recovery. And so these came together in a very unique way. Woman escaping her past, a very traumatic past in Texas. She reinvents herself, and she has one God-given gift, and that is she makes the best damn barbecue sauce ever. And she's following her dream to launch a high-end barbecue restaurant in San Francisco.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Love it.
So I spent, as Rachel said, 10 years living in Austin, Texas. And yes, barbecue is king, and there's so much of it, and it's so good. It was so great to have a character exploring this world and top of the game in this world, to be a woman, barbecue master who's a woman, and her sauce. And I want to know a little bit about what drew you to that world as part of, as you mentioned, the baking and the cooking became alive for you, but that's a very unique kind of place. And I'd love to hear a little more about how you got there with your character.
I'm glad you asked that, because you're right. Barbecue is kind of the manly art. And in Austin, the premier barbecue places are, definitely very male driven. And I just loved it because as a young teenager, she had some trouble in her life. Margie did, the main character. And her mentor was actually this very accomplished, very talented pitmaster named Cubby Watson and his wife Queen. And they're a Black couple who kind of took her under their wing, took her to their church, helped her through some really tough times. And so it kind of honors her mentor and led her to a place that, ultimately is going to save her from, this sort of life event that happens to her. So, I'm trying to not do too many spoilers, but there is a lot of drama. And I have heard feedback that this cover it's very lovely, but it's very feminine. And you would assume that the person in the story is a baker, but the baker is actually the love interest, and he has Jerome Sugar. He has his bakery. It's called Sugar, and they end up sharing a commercial kitchen, and that's kind of how they come together in the book. And it's a bit of a rocky road. It's a bit of a journey for the two of them, but ultimately, let's see where life and love takes them.
Okay.
Good. Oh, sounds so good. I'm enjoying it.
Well, there's so much that just is intriguing about this book. And I love what you're saying. I think for a lot of people, like, being in the kitchen is that creative space too, where we can kind of leave our troubles behind. It's an expressive place. It's also a place where we show our love and our affection by sharing good food with our family. So those are all themes that really, really resonate for me, and characters that are in that world. But I kind of, as you said, it's this really it's a pretty cover. It's a gorgeous cover, actually. I'm all, Rachel's about the fingernails. I'm all about the cake, honestly.
I'm about the cake.
Yeah, but I think it's hinting, the title, Sugar and Salt, is hinting at some deeper themes in this book. And so I love that when we take a story that has kind of a romantic theme, but we add some depth to it. So talk to us a little bit about what's the sugar and what's the salt in this story.
Thank you. Yeah, the sugar is obviously, the sweetness of reinventing your life and finally finding your path. But the salt is that rocky road along the way. And she definitely has a lot of bumps and challenges in her way. And so that's always been the title. I often don't get to keep the titles of my books. I don't know if you guys experience that. I'm guessing you do. But in this case, they were a little apprehensive about the title, but ultimately when they read the story, they embraced it, and hopefully readers will too. But I kind of like the push-pull of sugar and salt. So, and I should mention, I tested a lot of recipes because probably like a lot of you, the end of my day where I go into the kitchen to make something to eat, I actually don't mind usually, I like putting together a good meal or something. And so I think that probably sort of led me to test a bunch of recipes. And so I picked my favorites, and the publisher was nice enough to include them in the back of the book. And so
Fun.
I'm wearing them on my hips. I'm going to have to maybe do an athlete in my next book. So
it's just suffering for art, Susan. You're suffering for art. It's okay.
Honey butter fried chicken, Texas sheet cake, lazy biscuits.
Yeah,
haven't gotten there yet. These are amazing cocktails. Ooh. All right. Well, okay. And now I'm totally distracted by all the delicious things. Now I'm getting hungry. But Susan, what do you hope when a reader finishes the book, turns the last page, what are you hoping they're walking away with?
Oh boy, I hope that they walk away with a conviction that there's always a way to save yourself if you love yourself enough. And that the thing that you're most passionate about could be the very thing that saves you, no matter what happens. And I hope, as I was writing it, I finished it more than a year ago. And so, but as I was writing it, we didn't have as much controversy and topical things that are happening in the world right now. And so it's interesting that themes of body autonomy and women's choice and racial issues and things like that are so much in front of us now, and that the book is pretty head on about some of these things. And the publisher actually did assign it to something called a sensitivity reader. I don't know if your readers have heard of that. That's somebody who, an expert who reads a book to verify that, your cultural references and your racial and other references are respectful and accurate in that vein. And I really loved her feedback. Her name was Kashinda, and we got a nice document from her sort of pointing out the places that she focused on in the book. And so my topical book what I want readers to walk away with is, something to talk to a friend about, or, a sister or a mom.
Love that. Thank you. Well, thank you for being with us. We're going to end with the question we ask every writer, which is, what is bringing you joy today?
Today, I'm so happy that you asked that, because we've had a house full of guests, as we do every summer. And today, and we had joyful times, but we've had many, many guests. And so today I actually put my daughter and my granddaughter in our boat and took them home. They live across Puget Sound in a little neighborhood called Ballard. And it was a gorgeous morning. And so we were boating with my granddaughter. We had music playing. We were eating the Raisin Bran in the boat. And that just made me so happy. And then the other thing that's bringing me joy is that if I get my pages written today, I get to finish binge watching The Bear. It's my new favorite foodie binge watch. Can't get enough of it. So Those are two things, I guess.
Excellent.
What a great day. Those are great things to bring you joy. Well, readers, make sure you go and pick up a copy of Susan Wiggs' new book, Sugar and Salt. It's a great summer read, wonderful for these warm, long days when you're looking for something good, light, but not too light, something good with themes to make you think. So Sugar and Salt, and thank you, Susan, for being with us. And we will see you next week on the 10-Minute Book Talk.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.